This is a guy who I came to admire and love dearly during my late teens and early 20s. His whole "I don't get no respect" stick, it really resonated with me for some reason. Maybe it was because I felt like I wasn't getting my due either. Who knows? It really doesn't matter, because what does matter is this dude made me laugh big time in movies like Caddyshack, Easy Money, and Back to School. Man, I loved those movies, especially Back to School. I probably rented that particular movie out 20 or more times. You've got to remember that this was before all the streaming media stuff that we have today. I actually had to go to the video rental store and plunk down my hard-earned cash every time I wanted to watch that movie. And although a lot of folks had thought that fame had kind of been overnight for Dangerfield, I knew that that wasn't actually the case. The handsome lug that you're looking at right there is Jack Roy, the stage name that Rodney was using before he gave up on comedy. Yep, you heard me right. There was a point in Dangerfield's life where he had to ignore his dreams. He did an about-face, a complete U-turn, and sold aluminum siding to make a living. You see, he had a young family, and comedy just wasn't putting dinner on the table. But it wasn't long before Rodney was back at it. First as a bit of a side hustle, and then Mr. Dangerfield got his big break, a last-minute addition to the Ed Sullivan Show. His appearance turned out to be the highlight of the show, and well, the rest is history. And there were so many appearances on Carson, and yes, Johnny really did think that Rodney was that funny. The movies were a natural next step from the world of stand-up and nighttime television, and Dangerfield, he knew exactly what he was doing with each role that he chose. Another favorite memory of mine is Rodney's brief stint as a rapper. Rappin' Rodney was a great novelty song from the late 80s, and yes, that's Pat Benatar there with her hands around Rodney's neck. So at this point you may be asking, what is this secret regret that you're talking about? Well, to get to Rodney's regret, we've got to talk a little bit about his second wife, Joan Child. Joan, by the way, grew up just a few miles away from me in Ogden, Utah. And although Rodney was 30 years her senior, she was smitten with him almost immediately. And as they say, the rest is history. And it was in a fairly recent interview with Joan where she was reflecting on their life together that she divulged Rodney's secret regret, his one regret. And that, according to Joan, was that he had felt badly that it had taken so darn long for success to come his way. He was in his late 40s when he appeared on that Sullivan Show, and he just regretted that he wasn't younger when the big break finally happened for him. Still, I don't know if I agree with Rodney. He was, after all, on the cover of People magazine in 1986, where they described him as a Hollywood hunk. Not bad press, really, if you think about it. Plus, he got to share the cover with Christy Brinkley. End of the day, Dangerfield was in the public eye for almost 4 decades, and that was after a career in aluminum siding. Sure, it was the second half of his life, but holy cow, what a life. And to illustrate my point, just take a look at this picture. Dangerfield chillaxing with Pee Wee Herman and David Lee Roth. Now that, my friends, is a party. But wait, we can do better. Let's close with this picture instead. Yep, that's Elvis, the king of rock and roll, visiting with a man who seldom got the respect that he deserved. Anyway, please share your memories in the comments section, and while you're at it, I'd love a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I would be absolutely honored if you would consider subscribing to my channel. I talk about music, movies, and television, mostly from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.